Today, I'm sharing an interview with Karleen Roy that took place in my private online community. This is my leak. This is the podcast.
There you are.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. It is 1:00. We are right on the money. I usually like to wait a couple minutes because I know how life is. And I'm sure you know too at events. Before we even get started, do events even really start on time? What is your secret for like event timing?
They don't start on time. We call them phantom time. And when you're doing events for a certain type of audience, our people, we're just always going to expect that it's really going to rev up about an hour and a half after go time is on the actual invitation.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do with that time so that it's like not stale? So if you know people aren't going to show up on time, how do you fill the time?
It's like we buffer in a cocktail hour. Think about any dinner party you've gone to. If it says 7:00 on the invitation, you're never walking in and sitting down and eating at 7:00. You're not taking your seats to about 8:15 or so with the plan to like start ordering food by 8:30. Think about any event that you've gone to. It never revs up until maybe about an hour. And only things like conferences, retreats, seminars are like starting like on the nose. Anything else, I would say more social events. Especially social events that have a bit more Black sauce on it. We get started about 60 to 90 minutes after playing.
After the start time.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll wait just a handful more minutes before I do your intro because I do want people to catch it. But I'm so glad that you're here. And I'll tell you a little bit about this community.
I was going to ask.
I know, while we wait for more to file in. So Karleen Roy, this is my Leak and Mamas community that I created, I don't even know, however, a little over a year ago, and probably more than that, but just brought it into a community, brought it into an online community where I can kind of just talk about the things that I want to talk about without sort of like flooding my Instagram or beating people's emails down every time I get a thought. And so we have been in community together for close to a year, I think, April or May. We'll make a year. I think it was around May that I started this new sort of version of it. So this event is being recorded and the replay will be in the community. So because I want to use our time, I'm going to get into it. Everyone, Karleen is a visionary, an artist, a friend, and the founder of the Vanity Group, the go-to agency of Hollywood's elite for spectacular events. She is a Memphis native who spent several years as senior executive assistant to Sean Diddy Combs. She's a Howard University alum that decided to strike out on her own. A few years ago, Karleen was diagnosed with MS and had to let go of her can't stop, won't stop credo. And I want to talk about some of that too, to learn to take care of herself. And she has produced some of the decade's most notable events, Cardi B's baby shower, Carol's daughter's 25th. She also has signature events, Grit Before the Gram for the music industry, and a speaker series, Owning the Block, which I participated in. Welcome, Karleen.
Thank you.
Yes. So
I'm so happy to be here. This gave me like a reason to put on lipstick on Friday.
Yes, lipstick on a Friday. I know. Yes. Feels good, right? So we're happy to have you here and we want to talk about all the different topics. But when I was thinking about your sort of intro, I'm like, you are a visionary and an artist. With all of like the work that you've done, what do you think led you here?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Weighing in with soybeans and a baby show straight out of Norburn, Missouri, we have Soybean Festival. From Hayward, Wisconsin, at 73 years young with the world's largest muskie statue, put it together for Muskie Fest.
Finally, packing a punch with fire dancing and a pet costume contest, the Roseau, Minnesota Fall Harvest Fest. One of these festivals could win $100,000 in the Cenex Hometown Throwdown. You decide. Cast your vote at CenexHometownThrowdown.com. Cenex, powered locally.
I think I have always had this jump out the window spirit. Like, we can do it. Anything can happen. I ran into an old friend of mine last time I was in Memphis. I haven't seen her since the 10th grade. She's like, I don't even know what you are doing in life, but whatever you're doing, from just the visuals, this is what I imagine you would be doing in the 6th and 7th grade. So I think I just always had a spirit of like zest and enjoyment in life. And I don't think it's any coincidence that I ended up in a joy-based business. My business is about creating happiness, creating fun, creating moments. So I think it's all serendipitous.
Yeah, I think we talk about this all the time. I mean, you produce events, but that's not really what you do. What you do is we know someone's having a birthday party. We know someone's having a conference. You come in and I feel like you see all the missing joy, like you're like, this needs confetti. The people need to be feeling like this. They should be dressed like that. And I'm just wondering, is that like, do you see that all the time? Does it come, is it like a magical feeling? Like, what is that?
I want to say to the mamas, y'all are in such good hands, because one thing about Myleik, she is an identifier of talent and stars, and like, she knows what's next. I had one conversation with Myleik. She says, you're not an event producer. You're a vibe curator. And at that moment, I'm like, I am. That's what I am in life. I am not an event producer. So you have that gift. You have that talent of recognizing like what the spark is in people and like identifying it. And with me, I think I'm an empath. Like, I can feel people, I can feel energy, and you can be the best planner in the world. But do you know a vibe when you come in the room? Like, is the lighting too light that it's going to make people like not like get all the way comfortable? Like, are the floors too cold? Are the floors too cold where a woman doesn't want to like stand in her heels in it all day because it's going to be just like so shocking to her feet? I don't think those emotions can be taught. I think you genuinely have to know the art of celebration and the art of like what's going to make people have a good time. And that's not necessarily like a skill you can learn. I don't know, but yes, right. I feel this way.
That's what I was trying to say to you. I'm like, it's not like you're like, oh, let's do a birthday party, because anyone can do a birthday party. But I think what you bring to events is so special. So
thank you.
This talk is designed to help us make our own events special. So because this is a mom group, most of us have kids, we're going to move on. What are some things? I don't know. I know you've done some kid parties, but what are some things that you think help or are missing from little JJ's birthday party?
I think what's missing from little JJ's birthday party is little JJ. Meaning people create these, people create these events all the time. Huge balloon garlands, huge 360 spin things that, you see on Instagram, a flower wall, and they have created all these trend moments without thinking of the subject. What does little Jimmy or little JJ have to do with the spinning photo booth? What about that really speaks to him? So I don't think people are creating events thinking about who the actual subject is. I think a lot of people these days are planning events just based off trends and what they see on Instagram.
I can tell
because you can look at any photo on Instagram and you see a million events that look the same way. And I don't think because people are designing with the actual subject in mind.
Right. I can tell you that I threw like what I call my mini weddings for both of my first kids' birthday parties. And those were my parties. I just like to be clear, like that's my party.
Yes.
Everything else has been child-centered, the Super Mario situation. But yes, I appreciate you sharing that. And so centering the person in the event. So next up, we are having a house party or a home gathering. A lot of us are hosting lots of people, you know, what are some things that we can do that are super simple and at home? And I love that you said that your event is not going to necessarily, people online may not get it, right? Because it's yours.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
I'm at home, dinner party. What am I missing?
You're at home, dinner party. What are you missing? It'd be nice to know if you're having people in your house, there's something about these people that make them special. You should let them know that. So let's say there's a place card for, 5 people, 10 people. How did Karleen snag an invitation to this warm dinner that you're hosting in your home? My name is on the front. Maybe on the back is the moment you and I first met, or what has connected us. Like, it's small things about the people that you are hosting is going to make them remember it. What are another easy moment you can have in your dinner party? Let's say you and all your friends or you and your spouse have something in common. You guys have always dreamed of going to San Francisco, or the last few trips that you guys have been on that really have impacted you. Maybe the dinner is curated about that. Like each course is something or some location special that you all share together. And maybe the preface to the course is, remember we went to that restaurant in Italy and we walked down the street and I broke my heel? Like, let's give like a prelude to it. Like, it could be an Italian dinner. Yes, that's cool, but that's also boring. Those small, little personal moments just take ordinary just up a notch. Yeah. And it's really about thinking about your subject.
See, everybody, I see all the faces of people being like, see.
Yeah, small things.
Yeah, all of the events that I have done with you always have that nice little touch. Like, even at Kalana's birthday, turned over my name card and it's like a story about how we met, or like, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so sweet.
Yes, we call them impact moments. Like, what are our impact moments at an event? It's walking into the retreat and every woman seeing that their face was illustrated.
Yeah.
Moment.
Right. And when you say sort of, you're an empath, what do you know people want to feel? Like, people might be shy. Like, what are you looking for? Why do you think personalization matters so much?
Because the more personal a moment is, the more you think like, wow, this person cares about me. And I think the art of being a gracious host is paying attention to whoever you are hosting, whether that's your partner, whether that's your kid, like knowing that like they were important enough to you. And I think when you are creating these moments, or people are creating these events for, birthdays, whatever, on Instagram, I think people are creating it for the visuals, not for who their audience is. And that's where things go wrong.
Okay. So I feel like as I meet more people that know you, I find out that you do all these other like things for people on the low, like planning anniversary weekends.
Yes.
How do you, I'm coming to you, or someone is coming to you to help plan an anniversary weekend. What are some things you're asking? And if you guys want to maybe blow up the chat, we can have a little fun with it. But Karleen's going to plan your anniversary weekend, and I'll just pull something out, or you can pull something out. What's the first question you want to know from the couple, Karleen?
The first thing I'm going to ask for the couple is, what are your expectations for this trip? Like, what do you hope to get out of it? I want to reconnect with my wife because we've been like traveling so much. Like, I want to sightsee. I just want to be in the boat all day. Like, what are your expectations of the trip? Because we may be on 2 different vibes. I may be just coming to like shop and blow them all up, and my man may be like, I just want to like lay in the house and cook and listen to Jill Scott. So one, seeing like, are you guys on the same page of what you want to do?
Okay, so Patrice this is for her anniversary. This is a reconnection trip.
Yes. Patrice is going on a reconnection trip. The first thing we are going to do is say, we're going to come up with an itinerary, right? Okay. So you go on any trip, a girl's trip, a divorce trip, I hate my husband, we getting away trip, like a trip has a certain science to it, right? One way to take it up is I'm actually going to create an itinerary.
Okay.
I'm going to create a visual. It's going to be on Canva. Make Canva your best friend. I'm going to put together an itinerary. This lets the person know, like, this is real. This is happening. It starts to build excitement. You and I can be talking about we're taking a connection trip, but if it says to my spouse, Patrice, hey, babe, our anniversary trip is coming, details to follow. He's like, oh, shit, she got it together. And all she did was take her thoughts and put it on paper. That's one way to amp up a simple moment. The second thing I'm doing is we're not packing on things all day. An anniversary trip is not your time to like be the hero and like go see like a million places all day, making sure that you are buffering like alone time or dream time and not just like running around all day. Right. Next, whatever small moments between you and I, like how can we make them more special? I don't know if you remember, Malik, when you were like, I want to host a small something during the retreat for like the first women who signed on board, right?
Yeah.
Just creating, we can just go to a restaurant and have dinner, but we can create also like a dinner for 10 outside, and it feels really special and it feels really different. So what are some small things that we can do that aren't so crazy and feel achievable at an anniversary weekend? That's going to take it up a notch. Maybe we're not going to the restaurant. Can they set up a table for us, like in the back someplace? Is there like a walkway we can walk to? Just a slight shift, as I call it.
I love that. So it's like the anniversary weekend, we're using Canva, we're putting together an itinerary, we're giving a teaser, we're building excitement, which that's such a missed moment, excitement. And then, like you said, what is a way that I can do something a little special at this restaurant? So it's not that I'm just sitting down at a table, but I'm either bringing the meal in, or I'm sitting at like the chef's table, or I am just finding a way to make it a little bit more magical. And I'm also picking up that you were saying, like, don't plan a lot. What do you think that does? Because that is probably one of the reasons why I don't hang out with a lot of people, because it's like, I cannot do 700 things on a trip. I have no desire. Someone is asking, what is dream time? So what do you mean by that?
So dream time is, when are you just like looking out the window, staring out? When are you just gonna I gotta run and go get dressed, and you jumping in the shower? When can I take just like an extra 10 minutes in the shower just to like think and do nothing? Like buffering in your day to think and do nothing, and not just be like so transactional with every move that you're making in your day. That's like what I would consider dream time. And I think every mama needs one. I think every business owner needs one. If your day is just transactions and going from point A to point B, like when are you having a moment to like plug up your brain and just like reset for a second?
So something
and
else.
I want to answer your other question about being exhausted when you go on trips. How many of us in our 20s went on a girls trip and everybody was doing the most all day? We waking up, we going to a brunch, then we going to Wet Willie's, then we going here, then we gonna jump in the pool, and then I gotta sit on the dryer and lay my edges down. Then we going to the club. Like, it was all day long. Or you've been on a trip with whoever, and it's just like one thing after the one thing after one thing. And you get home and you need a damn vacation from the vacation.
Yes.
Those are overproduced trips, overproduced moments. Have you ever gone to an event where it's like too much customization? They got the pillows custom, the bath soap custom, the drinks custom, everything is custom. That's overproduced. It's like you don't have to do so much to make shit fly. Like, you don't have to do all that. So you never want your events overproduced. You never want your vacations overproduced too, especially if it's a anniversary or celebration weekend, because you come home and you need a vacation from the vacation.
Right. I think a lot of people are just trying to make the most of the time, not realizing that restoration is productive as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So before, because I do want to start asking you some personal questions, and then I do want to, you guys can put your questions in the chat and we will have plenty of time for Q&A. But I feel like some of the events that you do, or a lot of the events that you do, they are very expensive. And so before I talk about accessible ways, I want to talk about the truth of the Instagram event, because people will reach out. You'll see something someone does. And I know for me, one of the biggest sort of like shockers is florals. And so some of you who may have gotten married, which, you've had a wedding, can you talk about the real cost of flowers?
Yes, the real cost of flowers is whatever you think it is. I would say it's triple that. Mm-hmm. People have no idea how much flowers really actually cost. Out of all the events we do, probably the most bulkiest line items, I would say, is floral, right? Especially if you live in a city where it's not a big flower town or a big city like New York. Yes, we're going to have a great flower market. Los Angeles, yes. Maybe not in Memphis. Maybe not in Kentucky. So if you are wanting these big, huge flower moments, you're probably going to pay more because the cities just doesn't have that much, and they're going to have to import all the flowers in. Whereas in New York and LA, they can probably pull from their flower market. People don't understand that.
Okay. Another item I want to talk to you about is lighting. Why do we need it, and why does it cost so much?
Mood is everything. Mm-hmm. Have you ever went to a nightclub and it was bright as hell? Hell no. You want to know why it's dark? You feel a bit more loose. You feel a bit more flirty. You probably want to dance a lot more. Like, the lighting is heavily tied to the mood. So if you're just having a dinner party, you don't need the most extravagant lighting system. But if this is a party where you want people like dancing all night, the lighting matter because you can manipulate the mood of your guests by having the sophisticated lighting.
Okay. Next thing I think you're a rock star at is music. So how do you go about like the difference between, say, a DJ and a playlist? And if I'm needing a playlist, where am I going? What am I doing?
Music is everything. Everybody in here, if anybody is about to get married or about to have a big celebration, I would probably spend more money on the DJ than I would the wedding cake. When people go to an event, they're going to remember a few things. They're going to remember that the service was impeccable, meaning they never had to wait to get a drink. They got in and got out of valet like with ease. Every moment they turn around, like the food was right there. Like, people are going to remember like the service, and people are going to remember that they danced all night. Mm-hmm. They're not going to remember the cake. They're not going to remember the 360 photo booth. They're going to remember like, yo, the bar was popping every moment, and I was on that dance floor on my knees because of the music. The music is key. Music is what our emotions can't say. Yeah. So you can really tap into the emotion of your guests by creating the right music. And just someone who can play the hits is not going to get it. Like, you have to hire a DJ that is a lover of music themselves, so they can read the crowd. I'm sure we all been to a party where everybody getting into it, and the DJ just goes someplace else. It's like, bro, are you reading the crowd? You're messing up our vibe. So right. If you can get someone that is a lover of music, it will change everything.
And you can see the difference, ever since I've started doing events with you, and it's like, okay, this particular event calls for this kind of DJ.
Yes.
Then you go somewhere, and like you said, it's like, if this person is the model DJ where they are the star and the music is not, it's like the room is about them.
Yes.
And not about people rocking out. So
yes. I would go back to playlist versus DJ.
Playlist, yes.
I think if you are working on a conservative budget, a playlist is the way to go. I just had a cocktail party myself in New York. I didn't have the space for the DJ, and I also thought it was a short event where I didn't want to invest in it. Yeah. So what did I do? I called a DJ friend of mine. I told them the vibe I was going for my party, and I had them create a playlist.
I love
that theme. I do that all the time. Like, any DJ that I work with, I would go to them and say, can you put together these mixes for me? I'm sorry, there's a mix and a playlist. A mix almost is like you feel like you're dancing in a nightclub.
Okay.
And I'll tell them like, I want an 80s mix for Carol's daughter's cocktail hour.
Yeah.
I want a hot girl turn up list for my leak's Jammy Jam at the retreat. And like, these are almost like playlists that I keep in my back pocket that I can use for whatever event. If I'm hosting something at home, if I need to like get through a 2-hour cocktail party, I have this bank of playlists.
And roughly, like, how much does something like that cost? Just because it's like you said, it's budget conscious. Like, what am I looking to pay for a playlist?
If you're going to pay for someone to create a playlist, maybe they're going to charge you $75 to $100, which I think is not insane. And you can have this forever. Or if anybody has Apple, it's good. If anyone has Apple Music, you know, you can put in any type of like emotion or theme and it will create a playlist for you. So there are easy ways and inexpensive ways to get the party started.
I need to find it, and maybe I'll share it with the group, the playlist that we had from the Jammy Jam that night. I think we put it up on Spotify. I think I'll find it so that people can listen to it.
You guys would love it.
It was, those kinds of things are timeless. And it just like, it was the perfect playlist for an all Black women's, even though at the retreat, I feel like everybody turns into 8 years old. Like it's like an 8-year-old Black girl summer party.
You want to know why? And this is a secret hack that I'm giving you guys. If you are hosting an event and you don't know what type of music can play, when in doubt, play music that's from everybody's high school years.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you went to high school in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like you just said, Miley, you feel like you're a young girl dancing at the Jammy Jam because the music was created. Like, come up with a playlist that feels like we're in high school and people are going to dance all night.
All the dances
probably your youth. You got memories, you dancing, you on the middle of the dance floor because everybody had a good time in high school. So when in doubt, like everybody like in their 30s or 40s, I'm gonna hit them with some B2K or something, or you going like DVD and everybody's gonna dance.
You went B2K is y'all young. Okay. It was like I was going out as B2K was coming in, but definitely.
I'm
so
B2K #1 fan.
Okay. I love this. And so I want to talk a little bit about like your journey, you being diagnosed with MS, and sort of like, I think explain to people how you used to work and like how you're working now and what sort of, what have you seen happen in your life?
Wow. So a big part of my life, everybody, I worked for Sean Combs, which means as his executive assistant, his life was my life. And so I have been trained or groomed to like always be on go mode. Like, why are y'all asleep? Y'all could be working. We like, shit, we could be working. Like this was our mindset all of the time. Right. And I started seeing the lens of me, like as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, like I need to be working every day, fingers to the bone. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think being diagnosed with MS was the wake up call or the scare straight moment that I needed. I asked my neurologist, I was like, neurologist, I'm trying to be a city girl for the rest of my life. What do I need to do to, beat this illness? And he said, Karleen, I'm going to give you the secret tip. You have to chill out and you have to go to sleep.
Get some rest.
Get some rest and go to sleep.
Really?
You're not going to be able to function. It's not sustainable running on fumes. Mm-hmm. It's not sustainable to a healthy person. It's really not sustainable to someone that has like a underlying situation. Mm-hmm. And it was at that moment, he's like, how can you, it's all the cheesy memes we see on Instagram. Like, if you're not good to yourself, you can't be any good to anybody. So I really had to, at that point, put that can't stop, won't stop lifestyle to bed. And also like give myself a little bit of grace. Like, you can reinvent, like how you want to show up in the world, like we can change. Like, just because maybe that was my energy at one part of my professional career, it's like, it doesn't have to continue to be that. So we can evolve, I think, like as humans, as business owners.
Was that hard though? Was that an easy transition, you get diagnosed, the doctor says it's time to go to bed, and are you just like, all right, I'm going to bed? How did you take that?
I was like, all right, I'm going to bed, but it did not happen right away. Like,
right.
I do this, I see this, but habits that you've been living 30, 40 years with, they're not going to change overnight. So I think being on a lifestyle that is more mindful has taken years to get to.
Yeah. What are some things that you do for mindfulness now that you didn't do before? Like, I know back when we used to work on things together, I would talk to her and she hadn't eaten in 10 hours. I'm like just sitting, frazzled. And I'm like, you haven't had any water. You haven't had carry some nuts. I'm like,
yes, something,
something like you got to eat something. What are some ways that you are more mindful in your life now?
One way is I used to be a hothead, everybody. When I say used to be, I'm going to say like just last week. I used to be a hothead, right? But one trick that I've learned in my mindful journey is think in a second. Is whatever I'm about to cuss somebody out or go in about or like run myself ragged about, is this going to matter in a few years from now? That dictates to me like how much energy I am giving something, because we get so caught up in the moment as people and we just react. Most of us, we just react. But I stopped and taken a beat. Like, is this worth me like about to evoke all this energy? So that's one thing I became mindful of, because in the events business, I don't know if you ever seen like a basketball coach or a football coach. They are on the side going nuts. Like you see the coach, they're the most animated out of everybody. That's because they're seeing their work in real time. So they're very reactionary. People who work in live events, it's the same way. You're going crazy. The food is, taking too long. You're running to the bar. So you're reacting in full time, but like taking a beat before I always am getting worked up. That's one way I'm more mindful. And honestly, going to sleep. If we aren't sleeping, we aren't losing weight. If we aren't sleeping, our bodies aren't regenerating. If we aren't sleeping, our brains aren't getting the moment to reset. Like these are, proven things. So these are just small things that I'm continuing to make.
Okay. So you're going to sleep. What else are you doing?
I'm going to sleep. I'm drinking less. I'm drinking less. I know the thing right now is, I call it brunch culture, where you like get dressed up and go to brunch. How many Saturdays are they in a month? How many Saturdays are there in a year, right? So we spent our last few Saturdays drinking, going to brunch. Also, how many linking up with your girlfriends are you going to do like over drinks, over more drinks? And, oh, girl, let's meet for a drink or there's dinner. So being more mindful, because at the old Karleen would be, I'm drinking on brunch. I'm going to I'm having a glass of wine at dinner. I'm having a glass of wine with my friends. And it's like, you would have looked up and you would have consumed so much alcohol just casually drinking for the week. And again, I work in a joy nightlife industry. It's drinks at events all day long. It's like, I would be just drinking my life away. So being more conscious of how much alcohol I'm, pouring in my body.
Yeah, that's been a big one for me. I think having the kids sort of slows you down from all of the like lifestyle drinking, hanging out.
Yes.
And then I don't know, it's just like they're calling it, I think it's called like sober literature, or it's like a sober movement. So people who are sober curious, and it hasn't been until lately where it's just like, we are just doing so much drinking.
And
casually, and that they're like, drinking is going to be like the cigarettes, like drinking today is the cigarettes of the past, of like, people are just doing it joyously. But it's really, I think our culture's gotten crazy. So you're sleeping more, you're drinking less. And what's the third thing you're doing? Because we want to know.
I would say before my leak, when you saw me running crazy all around, and Karleen that worked for Puff and just like never went to sleep for a decade, I felt like Karleen was not moving her body daily. I think one thing that has completely transformed my life in the last 2 years is daily movement of my body and being conscious of that. I'm not trying to be the next, like Olympian, athlete, but just getting some sort of physical activity, and whether that's going for a walk, whether that's like me dancing in my living room for like 10 minutes a day, like I am conscious of getting some sort of movement in. I wanted like everybody on here, like raise your hand. When is the last time you just bent over to touch your toes?
Right.
Just conscious of moving my body daily.
Okay. Versus running and chasing somebody
Waking
else.
up, going to get dressed, going to get your kids, cooking dinner for your family. Like, you're moving throughout the day, but when have you literally been mindful of, let me move my hips?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Let me stretch my back. You know, like I want to be 50 and 60 and still be able to jump and move and chase people and, you know, enjoy life. And I think it starts now, the habits.
Okay. I will, because I want to open it up for questions if you all have them. So you can either use the chat or the Q&A feature. The Q&A feature makes it easier for me to just kind of go down if you have them. But how has I got you, Christine, in just a second. How has the pandemic changed how you do business? Because I know with the pandemic, it's like,
when you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You are in the events business. People are back. Everybody is outside, but what are you doing differently?
What am I doing differently? That's a great question. What I learned during the pandemic was how to run my business so much more in a lean, efficient way. Meaning, pre-pandemic, or BC, as we call it at the Vanity Group, before COVID.
Before COVID.
BC, Karleen, the business owner, I think I was ignorant with a lot of areas of business and made a lot of big mistakes, made a lot of costly mistakes, signing up for platforms that I'm like, we were paying $900 a month for what? Or, you know, buying extravagant, you know, gifts for employees, and, you know, maybe money should have been spent another way. So because there was a complete loss in revenue, it made me a more financially conscious business owner. And it's like, you can still run your business and you can do it in a lean way. But I think you don't know what you don't know. And the mistakes is where you're going to tighten up. I heard, never let a crisis go to waste. Meaning, like, if there's going to be a crisis in life and business, like, what can you learn from it? So when we get on the other side, you can just be a bit more astute with it and being lean.
I love that. Christina, you wanted to ask your question.
Yes, thank you for calling me up. So one question I had is, not all the time I'm ready for like an event planner. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times in the space of curating the event myself, and where I always am like double dutching in my mind are, what are the items we need to invest in if we know, you know, there are going to be multiple birthday parties that we might want to host in a certain way, or even dinner parties. This is what you invest in. This is what you might want to rent, or this is what you skim on and go the cheap. That's a huge challenge for me when I'm ready to like do the full hosting thing.
When you're hosting, are you hosting for like your family and friends? So like people like your adults, or for kids?
Mainly where I find the challenge is with adults. With the kids, I'll be honest, I'll typically go the cheap route because they're over it so quickly at this age. They're 3 and 5. So it's mostly with the adult factor.
Awesome. So if you are hosting a lot of things in your house, and almost like, what is my event hosting starter kit package? Like, how can I host a dinner and like not break the bank? One thing you can do, and it looks beautiful in any home, any setting, is get a bunch of cylinder vases that you can put white candles in. You know where you can get a bunch of them at? The Goodwill. You can come up with a nice collection of those from the Goodwill. You want to always have like a cute little frame with like the cocktail menu in it that you can just put inside and print. You can get those things from the Goodwill, honestly and truly. Like those are like some like your signature decor pieces. Like I'm always going to have various heights, you know, like cylinder candles. I'm always going to have like a framed cocktail menu. I'm always going to do like one big flower and like make that my theme. Like that can be your whole like $75 starter kit. The most inexpensive flower to get and looks really full and you don't have to buy a lot, white hydrangeas. They're always going to look so lush and you're only going to use one stem. You don't have to get a million stems like roses. So like that's always like I'm hosting something in my house. I'm having candles. I'm getting hydrangeas. I'm running to about 2 Goodwills and getting a bunch of vases, and I spent $75 and it looks so elegant. I fooled everybody.
Yep. And you framing the cocktail list.
Yes.
Any tips on naming the cocktail list? Do we turn up or turn down the personalization here?
I like the personalization, but whenever you guys are having like signature drinks in your home, the drink menu should never be long than 3 drink choices. The more choices they are, the longer it takes people to order. Y'all ever been to the Cheesecake Factory?
Oh my God.
Go to the Cheesecake Factory. You don't know what you want for 30 minutes because you just be going through the page after page. It's too many options, right?
Yeah. You
have to give people short options because they can decide quickly, move on. And again, that goes back to service. If you're at an event like, I've been waiting to get a drink all this time, it's because the bartender back there trying to make 11 drinks.
Right.
Keep the cocktail menu short. People will order quickly. People will get their cocktails drink quickly, and everybody will move on.
I love that. And not having it be like super intricate. Like
yes.
Just something like a chic and simple cocktail. Patrice.
Yes.
And then I'm going to get to some questions in the Q&A.
The most inexpensive cocktail to do is always a cocktail with a splash of something. Okay. Champagne with a splash of pineapple juice. Something
because that trims
with
back
a splash
all the alcohol.
Trims back all the ingredients that you have to buy. Like you can always do a champagne or a sparkling something, splash it with something, a cute garnish. That's going to be way more affordable than a cocktail with 87 different ingredients that you have to purchase.
Facts.
What's a good rule of thumb if you're hosting something that has like a variety of friends, like work friends? Like let's say it's got people from work are there, but then you got like more intimate friends that are also there. And so, because even when you spoke about the DJ, I'm like, well, I know what mine is, but if I'm having older people from work, how do I like, we might not want to do the bumper, right? And so like, how do you balance it out when you have a group of people? How do you balance out those type of parties?
For music, I would say know your audience, right? Like you said, maybe this is a diverse age group people. So like if you have like your older boss is there and then like your 13-year-old cousin, then like maybe listening to Tevin Campbell is like not the vibe you want to go to. In those type of settings, rule of thumb is you always want clean music. Right? Have you guys ever been to a wedding and then like they start playing Cardi B and she's talking all types of records and your grandma next to you, you like, this is a little weird, right? So in those type settings, you always want to be conscious and have clean music, I would say.
Yeah, I know. That is like so cringe.
Cringe. I be cringing and don't even be my thing like this. Is
Okay. Nicole, I have your question, but I'm wondering if I can get a little bit more clarity. You were saying any ideas for creating daily small moments for mothers at home? I don't know if that's Karleen, if you want to answer that without more or do you need more from Nicole?
Nicole, give me a little more.
Yeah, give us a little more either in the chat or if you can unmute and hop on, that would be great.
I do want to say to the mamas, I had to watch my nieces for 6 hours one day. That was a year ago. I have been tired since that day. Literally, it was October 19th. I watched them for 6 hours. I have been exhausted since that day. I was trying to figure out, how do you eat take a business call, use the bathroom, like eat lunch. I was so overwhelmed. And it was at that moment, I was like, it just unlocked a whole new level of respect and understanding for moms, especially moms who are working at home. So how you guys do it again, that was that one day. I've been exhausted since that one day. So for women like you all who are doing it day in, day out, like I tip my hat to y'all because I can do it.
It's a lot.
Yes.
We appreciate
it's a lot. Yes.
Every time I have a call or I talk to someone and I'm like, yeah, my kids are 2 and 5, the face everyone makes of like sadness and sorrow, but also hope of like it gets better, it's helpful. So we've got Autumn. I hit you with yep.
Good afternoon, Karleen.
Hi.
Huge and love your work.
Thank you.
And so I have a lot going on this year. I don't know why I decided that this was going to be the year of all the milestones, but I have a 5-year-old, my son will be turning 5. So I'm planning a party for him. You came at me because I want a robot party. And he was like, I don't want a robot party. I want a Black Panther party. And I was like, that's so lame, but whatever. So we're going to have a Panther party. So I'm not worried about that, but I have a group trip that I'm hosting for my friends who were all a part of my wedding 10 years ago. So we're going to Miami in July. And then I have my my actual anniversary in November. I don't want to break the bank, but I also want to, spend a little, but I want to make it a personalized and exciting experience for each attendee. And we've got, I think, like 16 people going to Miami. And then obviously my husband and I, we don't know where we're going yet, but we'll figure it out. How can I focus right now on the group trip anyway? How can I make it a fun and exciting experience? It is an event to celebrate myself and my husband, but we're really honoring and celebrating these people who have been our village since.
Well, you just named 87 events you got going on. I was trying to keep up with it. I would say one, put your effort in whatever your priority is, right? And you are going to drive yourself crazy, I would assume, like doing an event, even if it is personal things like you're doing, it's a lot, right? And it's like everything you want to be like over the top and intense. And I would think like, which one is going to be like my marquee event? Make that the bigger one, right? That's the meat. And then maybe the other two, make the bread on the sandwich, right? Like I would not go big with each event. I would make a sandwich with it. Myleik does this unintentionally when we are doing a retreat. She's always like, Karleen, bring it down. Everyone does not have to be over the top. We have so many to do. Remember, we still need to stretch this out. So if we're like our impact day or my impact event is going to be the group trip with my friends and, Miami or wherever we're going, maybe everything else is maybe like,
a little bit
compressed. Yes.
I do. My personal feeling on sort of events and things like, I do think that we do damage when we go over the top with everything, or we try to go over the top with everything. And so that's the thing, is that I love Karleen, but it's like, she comes in and like everything we could do. And I'm like, some things can be regular, because you want to build more excitement, but you know how it's like a excitement hangover where it's like, I can't take no more. It could be the best thing ever. And it's like, you don't even enjoy it the same because it's too much, but she is doing she's doing the group trip. I'm wondering some suggestions for the group trip in Miami, just like quick off the top of your head. 16 friends, couples, all couples, mostly couples.
It's a mix. Some are single, some are couples.
Okay.
Quick things you can do. You can take a boat trip. Right? And this is another hack. No one wants to be on the boat longer than 3 hours. Don't let them sell you on a half day anything.
Hell
you never want to be on a boat longer than 3 hours, right?
Too hot. For start.
So that's one and done. That is easy, right? What's another thing that you can do? Brunch in Miami. That's always like a surefire thing, like easy you can do in any city. And then 3, I would arrange a photo shoot. If these people are so special in your life, how can we even memorialize this moment? Like I would do some sort of like group photo And then I would probably frame the photo and send it to everybody's house after, thanking them for the trip, thanking them for investing their time.
And on the
not only y'all's relationship.
Because I feel like I'm a part of the Vanity Group slightly. On the itinerary that she's sending out via Canva on the day of the photo shoot, is there a theme or a coordinated outfit, or just, not like we don't have to wear purple, but just like, when you send the itinerary, you can do something for the photo shoot that lets them know how to dress. This is something that when I went to Princeton,
you should have a dress code on the itinerary in general. You should. It will help people in this.
I wanted to share this because when I was in Princeton a couple of weeks ago and I was talking to Teresa, she was saying how one of her favorite parts of the retreat that changed her life forever was the dress code. She says she doesn't even dress the same anymore. Just the mere fact that you are giving people a place to go where, from a style perspective, that maybe they have never gone before. And it's like, maybe for your size, or maybe you told yourself that you can't wear this or dress like that. And so she, just from the dress code, she'll never be the same. But I do love the idea of on that itinerary, giving everyone a dress code, because it is so helpful. Yeah, it is so helpful. So somebody doesn't come with the cutoff shorts, all because they didn't know, because you can look on the itinerary and it may say something, and you remember the last time you went there, it was like this, but things may have changed. So
Autumn, I would do 3 events where I would do like a project or an event a day on your group trip. I don't think you need multiple things happen each day. I would leave the couples and the friends their own time to explore being away.
I love this.
Thank you.
Nicole is saying, she came back now that her children are older. She enjoys the quiet luxury at home. She brought large ice cube molds the other day to decorate in her juice. Makes her feel good. She was wondering if you had any ideas that she can tie into her daily lifestyle that might, this special touches that you are so known for.
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember growing up, my mom did everything fancy, and everything when she wanted to do it, meaning we didn't wait to use like the nice plates, or we never waited to use the nice glasses or the nice towels in your bathroom that you put out and you're like, oh, don't touch this is just for decoration. My mom always said growing up, what are we waiting for? Why are we waiting for just like there to be an occasion to like do nice, or like do nice things, or like, experience nice things? What are we waiting for? So I would suggest to you, like, one small way in your daily life is like, how can you pretty up your life or pretty up your world that will like make an impact in your day? Like drinking out of nicer water glasses.
Yep.
Is there like a bathroom in your house that you don't like? And he's like, actually, what am I waiting for? Maybe I will redecorate this or rechange this. Like, what are we waiting for to like elevate our lives in very small ways?
Yeah. I will just throw out some things that I do, because I feel like before I had means, I was always on the quest for that. But like you said, glasses, and I would get beautiful vintage glasses I used to go antique shopping all the time for just the prettiest glasses I could find for coffee, tea, water, wine, you name it. I think, small things, there's something about changing out the hardware. I don't care if it's like your apartment or your home, changing out the hardware is so helpful. New towels. There's something about new towels. And something that after becoming a mom that really helped me was having like a night wardrobe, like a bed wardrobe. So I have like a little space in my closet for my pajamas, my nice pajamas that just like, I feel like pajamas are not as expensive as like the full outfit, where it's like, okay, I can like luxe up a little in this area. I
always say, like, I'm always trying to like, how can I make my house feel like a hotel? Like if you travel, think about when you're like, I think the beauty of traveling, like you're someplace and it feels so special. Like everything about a hotel is special. How they make the bed. I'm like, I want to make my bed like this, like the silverware. Like how can you bring like hotel touches in your home?
At my last house, my like living room with those dark green couches was from my favorite hotel that I stayed in Paris. I was just like, the dark mood, the deep green velvet, like that's how I wanted to feel. And so it's like, if there are spaces, take a snapshot and recreate some of those little touches. You may not get it all, but like, you know, the dark walls and stuff like that, that's how I wanted to feel when I came home. So I have another question, Karleen, about a 40 trip overseas that's not Mexico. Any tips or ideas for a turn up location that is not Mexico?
A turn up location that is not Mexico is Ibiza.
Spelled I-B-I-Z-A.
I-B-I-Z-A. Ibiza or Ibiza is in Spain. And it is the turn up of all turnips of all turnips. I think it's super beautiful. And I also think Ibiza is not overproduced with travelers, right? Remember when everybody was going to, what's that part of Mexico everybody was going to? Tulum, right? Like everybody not going to Ibiza yet, so you guys could almost be a trailblazer in that way, you know, like open up your community to it. But Ibiza all the way.
All right. I love that. Anikia says, how do you create memorable moments for something simple like mom and dad having a night or weekend at home alone? Something that I don't get often because nobody will take my kids. But for those that do get that, what can they do?
How can you make it special? First thing you can do is mom and dad want to have a weekend home. You're arranging this for a mom and dad. The first thing I would do would arrange to have their house clean.
No, if they're home, kids gone, and we got the house to ourselves, but we're not necessarily going anywhere. Any tips? And if I don't have that right, please hit the chat.
Okay, if that's what it is, how can you have mom and dad at home? One thing you can do, I would hire a chef to cook for you guys. It's so easy and it's so beautiful to do, and you can sit at your own kitchen table and have a beautiful meal, right? That's like one less thing for you to do. Another way to make it special, get your favorite takeout, and we're not going to eat it out the plastic. We are going to put it on beautiful platters, and we're going to make a picnic, and we're going to sit in the living room, and we're going to eat pizza on, wooden, trays, and this is what we're going to do. I think you can like bring a picnic in your house. You can bring a chef in your house while the kids are away.
All of the things you just know how to make every single thing special. I want to make sure that I missed Keisha's question. She says, how should we determine when it's necessary to hire an event planner or DIY it? What percentage of the event budget should we allocate for the planner? Basically, how much do planners cost?
Right. Your planner should be anywhere from 10 to 20% of your budget. So the bigger the project, they probably will take a little more, but anywhere between 10% and 20% of the budget. I think most events at home, which I feel like most of us do, like we could probably do ourselves. Like I love Pinterest just like everybody else, if we can recreate, moments like that. But if you are a mom and you have a lot going on, like I'm sure a lot of you guys do, and you are just reached your bandwidth, but you have to spearhead something, that is probably when I would, look into the option of hiring somebody.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that, because 10 to 20% of the budget just puts things in perspective of like, what are you looking to spend?
Yes.
And I guess, why do you think planners attach, like they price per the budget? Like, what do you think that's about? Because
the bigger the budget, usually the more complex the event is, right? If you're not just having a big budget for like a dinner party in your house, like the bigger the budget, the more complex, the more labor they are putting into it. And that's why they charge in that way.
More line items, more people to manage. Let me see. Aaron is saying, I thought I saw something. I thought I saw, I know we're short on time, but
I saw that too.
where'd it go? I missed it. If you want to unmute. and speak, that is also a possibility too. I saw it, but then I didn't see it.
Hi, sure. I'll be quick. I just remember, Karleen, your New Mexico trip, and I'm like, that is a place I'd never ever thought to go, but you made it look so awesome. So do you still recommend that as a spot to hit? Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Santa Fe was life changing. I think if you have the opportunity to go, anybody, it's worth going. Going back to my dream time phrase, it was just such a magical place to explore and do nothing and just be all over the place. And just imagine being a Black woman there. I never saw another Black person. I was basically a Martian in Santa Fe. And you just meet the most amazing people. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I loved Santa Fe. We did like a crazy road trip and went through Santa Fe, and the food is delicious. And I do think it's important when we talk about dream time. I think dream time, or I just love connecting with people outside of my regular everyday, like meeting, just this idea of meeting strangers and sometimes staying connected with people, different viewpoints. All of my friends, I think, don't look like me, which is what makes, even a conversation that I had with someone yesterday, it's like, this person doesn't look like me, but I walked away with the gem that I'll share with everyone. Is a little off topic, but he said, heartbreak is a universal feeling, and he wishes that more of us would just accept heartbreak as a part of our lives. So many of us are attempting to escape the fact that our heart will be broken multiple times over the course of our lives. And I was like, oh, word.
Yes, I love that. And
yes.
Aaron, back to Santa Fe, and this is, I think, any nugget you can apply at any place. If you want to be interesting, you got to do interesting shit.
Gotta be interested in
yes. If you want to be creative, you got to do creative things. And it's like, you want to be able to share conversation with people and be able to contribute things. So I was more excited about going to Santa Fe. I'm like, this is just something interesting to do. It's like, how many times can we go to Miami, or how many times, like, this is the cocktail ingredients of what makes somebody an interesting person.
I said that I had dinner with someone a couple months ago, and I said the exact same thing, is that I had picked, she's like, well, how did you find this place? And it's like, well, I go on lists and I research and I find things. And I said, you do things to be able to tell the story, not, it's like, even if you don't enjoy this place, I mean, I've got plenty of stories I was sharing on my Instagram about the worst vacation I've ever been on in my life. It's like, sometimes what you get is a story. And so what I might do, Karleen, is round up a couple of questions in the community for you, because I see we got Martha's Vineyard. We got a couple more questions. So I may start and I'll send Karleen an email, you guys, and get her feedback on some things, almost like ask the vibe curator what we can do. And I will find that playlist for you guys too, and pop that in the community. Karleen, we thank you for your time, because I know you're being mindful in Los Angeles right now. You're
trying to
living your best life in the sunshine, getting your vitamin D. So thank you for taking the time and making the time for us. And I just want you to have a good weekend.
I want y'all to take these nuggets, apply it to your life. Remember, create your events and your experience for your audience, for the person, and you guys be good.
All right. Happy Friday, y'all. Bye.
See y'all. Bye. Peace.